Welcome to Octane Mobile Gaming. Welcome once again to Octane Mobile Gaming with yours truly, iOctane. The new deck is out for the next Darkslayer event. We're gonna have a look at the Darkslayer deck that just came out, but first and foremost, we're gonna take a look at the news links. That's law. Definitely, that's not the news link. So let's find the news link. That's not the news link. Okay, there's the news link. So the news link for this week is celebrating International Women's Day in Corellis, recruiting new mercenary eras. So this week you can actually battle against bosses, mercenary bosses, and you can collect some cards which they've been in the game for a while, like Exenka, Engineer Exenka, that's been in the game for a while. Freya is a Generation 2 card's been around for quite a long time, but you can collect a few cards that are quite useful from this particular event. You've got Frenzy Boss information, you got Slayer update. So one of the things that's coming out that I'm really looking forward to is turn N. So quality update, We'll be introducing the rate at which you can find your own bosses. That's really good because in past Slay event I find that it's really difficult to find your own bosses, especially bosses worthwhile fighting. Lower level bosses will have their HP increase, don't mind that. Lower rarity bosses will spawn less. That is really good because I get sick and tired of the low level bosses, especially when your boss level is quite high. Auto turn N, that one I'm looking forward to. I think when you haven't got any more moves, if the board is full with power gem and you swap 2 power gems, it will end the turn straight away rather than you have to wait on it to time out so you lose time. That is really good. So I'm looking forward to that particular change, and I'm looking forward to this Slay event. Didn't really get a lot of cards from the vault, but you know what, I'll use what I've got. So last week I didn't get much, and I didn't really play a lot of the last event, primarily because my internet wasn't working, so I didn't get to do possible deck combination because I didn't play the event until the last day. So I literally played for 2 hours on the last day just to complete the collection. That was it. So I got relegated from the Legend League, and hopefully my internet will get sorted out before this event ends. I'm not expecting the engineer for a few days yet, so I'm actually making this video from my car out in the supermarket car park where I can actually tether my iPad from my mobile. So the internet is pretty bad in the area that I live. Pretty bad, really bad. You can't even get mobile signal in the area, considering this is the United Kingdom. Anyway, let's move on. So this is the Mercenary collection, and some of the good cards that you've got. This one is a really good card. Enchanting Empress. It's from the Nicole deck. It's the ultra rare, and that is the top prize. That one is really a good card to get. This one is not too bad. It's also ultra rare from a past light commander event. That one is not too bad as well. This one, Dame Ragnar, is from the deck that had the Grail mechanics. I've got this one already, but I did get one from the vault, which isn't too bad. Just need the ultra rare to go with that one. Did get a few from the vault, but what I done, because I read it on my clan chat, that you can actually purchase each one of these cards at 5-star from the let me see, you can go to your codex, you can find it and buy it at 5-star. But if you already have a copy within your collection, you'll have to sell that copy, rebuy that copy at 5-star, then upgrade it, and then you can actually check them all off. So I've done that with quite a few. You can see my internet buffering, it's quite slow. So you can see I've checked off 9. I've only need 1, so I'm expecting to get this one from the event. Divine Destiny, I've already got a copy, but that doesn't count. This card is no good. It's absolute rubbish. Amy People Champion, it's no good. So this week deck, it's not magnificent, but it's got a new mechanic which looks a bit interesting. I don't think it's really brilliant, but it is what it is. So let's have a look. First, let's start with the support card. You know what, let's look at the support card at 6 stars rather than at the 3-star level. So this is again 3-star, 6-star. Yep, this is your support card. It's Supreme Sorceress Inia, and she will increase enemy turn count by 1. The charge rate is 9 and the cooldown is 7. So that seems like what most turn delay cards have, apart from the ones that we use in GVG that's got a 1 turn cooldown. Most turn delay cards have got like 7 turn cooldown, so that's to be expected. The passive, when a battle skill that creates power gem is used, it will create 5 dark gem. Now the passive should, I believe the passive should have been part of the battle skill. Increase enemy turn count by 1 and then create 5 dark gems. That would have seemed a bit better. It would have been a bit more useful. And the passive could be when a battle skill that creates power gem is cast, it could actually upgrade 1 dark gem or 2 dark power gem. I don't know, but that would have seemed more useful. But primarily this card is just a turn delay card, which in a Slayer event isn't very useful because most Slayer decks are 2 turn or 1 turn decks. So this isn't gonna really be very useful in a Slayer event. Probably in GVG, but there's better cards to use in GVG than a turn delay card that's got a 7 turn cooldown. There's far better cards. Now this one is Virago, and this is your main card. I did get 2 copies of this card. I had a look at the battle skill and it doesn't really seem that bad. It's far better than the support card. It will create 3 dark power gem ones, and it would also increase immortal killer attack by 100%. Now 100% isn't a lot, but as a card that you can get for free, it is okay. I got 2 copies and I can't complain. If you've got 2 copies and you combine this particular card with your Bioblitz deck, so that's a Freedom Fighter and Bioblitz, you can actually do some pretty decent damage with that particular combo, because that's the combo that I'm planning to run. It's got 9 turn, it's 3 turn cooldown, 9 gem charge rate. The passive, which is Inner Pride, when a battle skill that creates power gem is used, it will heal for 1000% of hero recovery, which is quite good. So you got 2 of these cards, you're getting 2000% recovery, 2000% heal. So this is not a bad card. This card is actually quite useful, far more useful than the support card. So let's have a look. I think this one is the Master Collection card. Yeah, it is the Master Collection card. So the Master Collection card, which is Lady Lionheart, a battle skill will create 4 Dark Power Gem tools plus 1 more per 100 Immortal Killer Intensity. In a Slayer event, 100 Immortal Killer Intensity is quite a lot. On your first turn, you'll probably generate 50 or 60 Immortal Intensity. Depends on the type of cards that you've got. So if you've got like 2 Ultimate Form, they'll generate 10 each, so that gives you 20. Plus if you've got 5 Immortal Relic, that will give you 25. So that is actually 45. So if you got a support card, that will give you probably 5 or 10, depends on the support card that you're using. So you get probably 50, 55 to 60 Immortal Intensity on your first turn. On your second turn, you'll generate just the same. You'll generate basically the same amount. So you'll probably be up to 110, 120 intensity, Immortal Killer Intensity on your second turn. So on your second turn, you'll just be creating 1 power gem extra with this battle skill. Unless it's your own boss and you've locked the boss, then you can build your intensity. But in a Slayer event, Slayer events are quite quick. You've got people with really powerful decks, especially 1 turn decks, 2 turn decks. So I think they should actually consider lowering the intensity requirement for decks like these ones. So mechanics like these ones, I think they can actually lower the requirement for the intensity to probably about 30 or 40. 50 is probably alright, but 40 would be far better. So the passive on this one again is Inner Pride, and when a battle skill that creates power gem is used, it will heal for 2000% of hero recovery. So this is the upgraded version to the main card, and it's quite good. It will also increase Immortal Killer attack by 140%, so 40 more percent than the main card for 1 turn. So I can see this card, this deck, if it's if you've got 2 copies of the Master Collection card, the attack boost will actually stock. So two Master Collection card will actually give you 280% attack increase. Combining it with a few other cards that we've had, or one other card that we've had in the past, which is an Immortal Killer, a commander deck, you could do some pretty decent damage with this particular deck. So far I'm a bit disappointed with the support card, but actually I'm relatively happy with the Master Collection card. And when it comes to the main card, it's not too bad. So Queen Mother of Magic is your ultra rare, and the battle skill, which is Shadowy Soul, increases the enemy turn count by 1. So the charge rate on this one is 9, but the cooldown is far less than the support card. It's actually 5, which isn't too bad. But again, you've got better turn delay cards to use in GVG rather than this one. So let's have a look at the passive and see if it's a card that can be used in GVG. When a battle skill that creates Power Gem is used, it will create 1 more Power Gem 1, then upgrade 4 Dark Power Gems by 1 level. So the skill for me, the passive for me is, it's interesting, but because the actual battle skill for this card doesn't really do much, it only increases the turn count, I must say the card in and of itself seems a bit weak for an ultra rare. If it created 2 or 3 Power Gem 2s or Power Gem 1s, it would be a bit more powerful per se, but it doesn't dispel anything. It just increases the turn count and upgrade Power Gems. So for me, this card is relatively weak as an ultra rare, and it's extremely useless in a deck that you haven't got any cards that will spawn Power Gems. It has to be used with cards that are going to spawn Power Gems. Well, given the current meta of the game, Power Gems is the way forward, so it would be on a deck with Power Gems, and it would, from where I'm reading it, it will upgrade other gems apart from Dark Gems. So it probably would convert and upgrade gems of other affinity. I'm not sure, but it doesn't stipulate that it will only upgrade Dark Power Gems. It just said Power Gems. So let's look at the ultimate form. Regal Revolutionaries is your ultimate form. The battle skill, Killer Queens, it creates 5 Dark Power Gem 2s plus 1 more per 100 Immortal Killer intensity. Again, I think the intensity requirement is a bit too high. It increases Immortal Killer attack by 180%. We've seen that before, and that part of the battle skill is quite useful. The charge rate is 9, the cooldown is 3, which is quite good. 3 turn cooldown are always good. 2 turn is even magnificent. 1, absolutely brilliant. But it's a 3 turn cooldown, which is good. The passive, Unbreakable Spirit. Whenever a battle skill that creates Power Gem is used, it will heal for 2000% of recovery, which is very good, very useful. It will also create 1 more Power Gem 1. Then it will upgrade 4 Dark Power Gem by 1 level. So this one only upgrades Dark Power Gem. So let's have a look at the ultra rare and see if it says only Dark Power Gem it will increase. Yeah, so it's a upgrade 4 Dark Power Gems by 1 level. Yep, so I read that actually wrong. It will only upgrade Dark Power Gems, but whenever a battle skill that creates Power Gem is used, so this passive will become active whenever a battle skill that creates Power Gem is used. So it doesn't matter what if affinity Power Gem is created, it will upgrade Dark Power Gems. So it actually only upgrades Dark Power Gems, not any Power Gems. But it doesn't matter the affinity of the card that actually creates Power Gems. Doesn't really matter. So looking at this deck, do I think it's a powerful deck? On its own, I don't think it's a powerful deck. But combined with other decks that can produce quite a bit of Power Gems, it will be quite a powerful deck. Something worthy of using. So what I'm looking at when it comes to deck like to use, so let's have a look at type. Let's look at Immortal Killer. So you got this one, Glorious Golems, and this one will create 4 Dark Power Gem 4s while supercharge this is doubled. So this one can create up to 8 Power Gems depending if you have got supercharge active. So Overwhelm, it will also create every free turn it will create 5 Dark Power Gem 3s. So that particular passive will become active on the first turn. So this one will give you 5 Dark Power Gem 3s on the first turn, making this very useful to use with this card, because this card as well has got the passive where every 4 turn it will create 2 Dark Power Gem 2s. So those 2 cards together will create 7 Dark Power Gems on the first turn. And if you've got, like I do, Bioblitz, let's look for Bioblitz. So I've got more than 1 copy of Bioblitz. I've actually got 2 copies of Bioblitz. So Bioblitz does the same thing. It will create 2 Power Gem 2s on the first turn as well. So you could use 2 Bioblitz, 1 Freedom Fighter, 1 Glorious Golem, and you could also combine that with this card, which is the main card for the deck. And this card will actually increase Immortal Killer attack by 100%. Anyway guys, that's all I've got for you today. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow on possible deck combination. Depends how things goes. Until then, enjoy your day. Peace. Bye for now.